Hi, my name's Ray. What we're going to do today is we're going to make a sculpture, but this is my home workspace, my home shop where we weld and stuff. All of this comes from junk. I own a business, Junk Remove Now, and my creative side had a real hard time seeing useful things getting thrown away. So I've organized and set stuff aside and have made sculptures, and today we're going to see what we can come up with. And as I was preparing for this and cleaning up, I found this, which I don't really know what it is. It looks like some sort of farm implement, maybe a tool for a farrier or to clean hooves for cows. I don't really know. But what I see out of this is either a perch for a bird or one of those really big cactuses that are down in Arizona. So we are gonna let this piece speak to me and then create and see what I come up with. What I have right here is a full setup of multiple different grinders and set up with different attachments so that I don't have to keep switching it out. I can just sit here, pick the one that I need. Like right now, I need the one with the cutoff wheel, so I can cut these off, and then I put this back, and then I can grab the one with the wire brush, and then I have one with what's called a flap wheel to smooth things out. So then if I'm sitting here, then you can see all the different attachments and everything. I'm good to go. First things first is I need to clean it up a little bit. And so I'm just going to use this wire brush and kind of clean it up, get a little bit of the dust off, and then I need to cut off these first, then I can stand it up. So at this stage of the game, it's a debate of how do I want it to come out, right? How do I want to portray what I saw in my mind? Which is always kind of like the battle of how to navigate that. And then, how far do I want to take this? Do I just, it'd be really easy just to put the metal down and, bend the metal up like this. Do I want to put a bird on it? Do I want to make a little bird? Or do I want to find a bird? Do I want to put some sort of animal? Alright. So what this is this is rebar, and they put rebar into concrete. Super crucial for the composition of concrete and its ability to be have structural integrity. But a lot of it gets thrown away, and it's usually small pieces like this, right? You can see, I didn't cut these. They came from a job. The person was cutting them, and this was their extra bit. So right now they're a little bit dirty, and instead of using that grinder, I'm going to use this bench grinder and clean them all up and make them real pretty. Alright, so the next part of this, I made a homemade jig. And all this is going to do is it's going to sit in the vise like that, and then I'm going to take those rebar pieces and bend them to fit. Now when you're bending rebar, the thing that I love to look at is I love to look at the way the texture is. So it has these rivets and lines, and so you can either choose to say have direction, or you can make it so it has a spine backbone. So whenever I'm bending this, I'm always thinking about what's it going to look like, what do I want it to be displayed like. And my thought here is to make it so that it's going out, kind of how like the needles would on the cactus. But then this part's where you get tricky. So do you make it so that one goes up, and then I'd cut it and weld it so that they're both pointing up, or not even worry about it? I probably won't worry about it. But as far as this tall one, I want it to go up and out instead of being like that. So just little aesthetics that make it matter a whole lot. Okay, so what's happening right now is I'm going to bend this, right? Like, but it's not tight enough. So I need to change where I'm pulling by adding a pipe over it to make it so that the exact spot that I want it to bend bends.
Like a cheater bar?
Cheater bar. Exactly. Ooh, am I gonna run out of rebar? I think I might run out of rebar. Well, like, so this crosses the line of where I'm gonna cut these and weld them on. All right, so there's gonna be a piece of rebar there, but this one is a little bit longer at the beginning, right? This part is longer, like it's a little taller. So in that distance, do I lose that little bit? Which, it's not a big deal. That's a nice part about metal that I like. Welding with metal is nice because then I can just add more stuff. Like, just weld it and grind it off. Not a big deal. Alright, so now we gotta weld this together to make it so it fits. Take that little extra piece. So, gotta change hats now. So, with welding, what can happen is you basically have molten metal all over the place. And it depends on the welding process that you're using. I have MIG, and then I have stick welding, and stick welding is much hotter, and the pieces of molten metal that fly off of the welding process are much hotter and burn through things. That's why I wear this and these pants, these blue jeans, and these boots. Frequently, when you're welding, you can have molten metal fall into your shoes, and most shoes are made out of plastic products, and it burns right through and burns your foot. So, leather protects. Since I'm adding this piece, instead of making the texture of the rebar match up, I'm going to flip it 90 degrees to have like a nice little change. I don't know, I like, whenever I create a sculpture, to add these little details that what makes really good art, in my opinion, is when the longer you look at it, the more you find. And so it's nice to leave behind breadcrumbs of the enjoyment of the creation that you are making. And so little things like this are a breadcrumb. Oh. Have your welding stuff. Once you like really weld it, then it's a pain to get off. So what you do before you get to like finishing your welds is it's called tacking. And basically what it is it's just enough to hold it together, but not structurally strong. Like it has no structural integrity. And I went to lift it up to finish the rest of the weld, but my tack wasn't strong enough and I put a little too much pressure on it and it broke. So now I have to reset up the first weld.
Okay.
What I got to do. So. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing over here is it just helps you set like if you had a real small piece that you don't have to hold with your hands, and to create a good like path for the electricity, because all welding is you are interrupting and connecting the electrical path of current.
Okay.
And based on the process, it is what it is, but you're basically making molten metal at the bridge of the gap, right where that is. And so to make things, sometimes you have to, this also conducts electricity through it, and it has magnets on the bottom, and I don't want the magnets conducting the electricity, so it has a bolt on the back that creates a more streamlined path for the electricity. So that's what I'm messing with.
Oh, damn.
Oh, I made it look too pretty. I ground off too much of the weld. So, come look at this. Okay, so what I did is the weld went in. Maybe I need to change the process I'm on. So the weld went in, and then I ground it out smooth to make it look pretty, but I took off too much of the material. So now, what that means is that this welding process, this MIG, isn't digging deep enough into the metal for it to bind, for me to make it look pretty. So now I'm going to do stick welding, which is this one. So. Okay, this process is significantly hotter. And as you can tell by my seat, while I've been welding, they have come back and burned me a couple times. So, edge of the seat. See, like, this is still glowing. Like significantly hotter.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, stick welding is the process that they use to do pipeline welding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is, like, it has to weld thick steel, and it's not that you can't with MIG, it just, stick is significantly hotter.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the look of this because it has this, like, it'll have like a discoloration. If you look there, it has this kind of like slight discoloration, just a heat. It's just a product of how much heat was there, and that'll look really cool on the piece. So that broke for a second time, so we're going to change the process. What I'm going to do now, because that piece that I just welded on again broke, so what I'm changing in my process is I'm gonna put the main vertical part together, put on this arm, and then from there I will start by putting this on the top, and then I will bend a piece to match where I want it to be, weld it to here, weld it to there, weld it to here, and then let it be where it's at instead of trying to. The problem is that the weld. I mean, I know how if I made cones, if I made cuts, let me draw it out. So like when they do pipe, and they lay pipe, before they weld anything, they don't weld like this. They don't weld like that because if the two pieces are butted up and you make your weld like that, it isn't strong enough to hold pressure. So what they do is they prep their weld. And they lay in, and then they do an initial weld that does this, and then they do filler welds, and then they'll do a top weld. Now that's like oversimplification, but that's how they do it. And then those welds get X-rayed to make sure that it's continuous weld, and there's no, it's called porosity, but no basically bubbles. And there's no bubbles in there so that it decreases its structural integrity. So I technically know what I need to do if I wanted to. If I wanted to, I would grind in like bevels all the way around on these rebar, and I would weld it so that it'd be a really, really good hold. Maybe I should do that, but ultimately this is like ornamental and isn't structural. I'm going to take a magnet. This is a hard drive magnet, and that's going to hold that there. Stay there. Okay, so what's happening right now is there's not current running through it. And the reason that there's not current running through it is that it doesn't have good contact. So what I have to do is clean the bottom. So whenever I make one of these, like the lines, like the way the lines line up matter a lot. So right here, if you're looking at this outside line, okay, it has this bump where the weld went. And so now I'm going to use this smooth out that bump so that this part is a straight line up and down when you're looking at it. I'm gonna explain some of this. So when I look at this, I also think about like how things are balanced. So the goal for this right now, the vision in my head is to use these horseshoes to put on this thing like this so that little succulent plants can be set in them. Ooh, yeah. So I'm gonna put at least the tentative plan is either to like put these in just like that, or to put a expanded metal. Oh, that's warm. Expanded metal behind it, or in the center of it, and cut these off until they fit right. So I'll cut off this little extra bit, and then a plant. You could set a little terracotta plant with a succulent inside of it. So that's my thought. That's the goal. So I need to put, but the reason I'm talking about balance and I talk about the succulent plants is because of this, like, is it going to tip? I don't want this to fall down in someone's house. So I have to think about, if something's sitting on here, is it too heavy to tip it this way? The base is stronger on the left than it is the right. And so if I put the lower arm on the left, then it'll hold it better, and the leverage side is covered on the right. So that's why the taller arm's on this side, and then the lower arm's going to be on that side because of this extension. That's warm. Normal red, I like these like a little bit more orange, and then the yellow from the marker gives it a nice like texture behind it. And this will create the outline, and like if it's supposed to be going with succulents, then the complementary colors of like a nice green are reds and oranges, right? So you have a variety of your succulent greens. And so to make this like tie it all together, I don't want to wire brush all of this off. I want that to stay there because that aesthetic will make it look really good. So this is like part of those things that you think about as an artist, things you got running through your head. So I'm trying to figure out how to include this little bit up here and then that bit over there, while also having the expanded metal part go up and down. Because that one's over there. Okay. Now this is go time. The last bit of it. This is where you you kind of gain momentum. You get really excited about all of it. So I'm excited to get this done. I'm going to weld on the back, and then it has all these rough edges that I'm going to come back and smooth out. So we should be good to go. Other thing that I'm completely committed to is I have this little thing that I've had forever. I think it's like a bird feeder, where like a piece of corn would go there, and you would screw this to a fence, and then the bird will sit there and eat it. I don't know. Any rate, it's not what I'm going to use it for. This cactus needs a bird on it. So my thought is cut this little bird off and either set him on the side or set him on the top, or like probably off to the side. I like that. Woohoo! The bird's smoking. Alright. I love this little cactus. Stuff like this is what I love. I love when a piece speaks to me and then it comes all together. This was quite an endeavor. I've had the idea for a long time to do little cactuses that'll hold succulents and with the terracotta plants. But now this is awesome to have this come together. And I don't know, I think it looks phenomenal.